Hello, this is Bert McCulloch. I'm a member of the Whitney Point Rotary Club, and I've come today to talk to you about some Rotary awards that we hand out every year. I'm going to spend 1 minute on myself, 1 minute on Rotary, then I'll go over the application, and then what we're looking for and what is good and bad in filling out the application. We hand out in awards $6,000 to $10,000 a year if we can find some good candidates, people who've done what we call community service, and I'll explain what community service is. We've already sent a letter to your parents with an application that explains what we're trying to do. My phone number is on there if you do have questions. Again, I'm Bert McCulloch. I've been in the Whitney Point Rotary Club for probably 40 years. I graduated from this high school in '67, so that's 55 years ago, but I still try to help out with one community service and other little projects. I'm the ski club coordinator and chaperone, and I come up to talk to the kids about community service every once in a while. Got out of Whitney Point, worked on we grew up on a dairy farm, and went to Cornell University, but I ended up back here in Whitney Point. I don't know how that happened. I didn't plan on that, but I did, and it's worked out very well for me. So I've been here as a nationwide insurance agent for 36 years. I'm retired from that. My wife was a teacher for 36 years, but I've been a Rotary member for 40 years. The Whitney Point Rotary Club has been in existence since, probably 70 years ago. In the area, we have 40 clubs, all promoting community service. These could be community projects and international projects. For example, one of our big international projects is Polio Plus, where we work to get people immunized from polio. We've generated over $500 million to that project, and we've also matched that with $500 million from the Gates Foundation. So that's one of the things we do on an international level. Plus we also do water projects, food projects, generator projects throughout the world, and many of them around here. But we also do a lot of projects here. We have fundraisers, and all the money we raise goes to help support local people, whether it be the fire company, EMS, or people in need. Some of our activities include the Easter egg hunt, Halloween parade. We have a lobster fest that generates a lot of money. Again, all that money goes to help people here. This is why we have this scholarship. We have a fund of about $300,000 generated by Rotary members and community members, people who want to give back to Whitney Point, but they don't know how to, say, bird dog their money. They give it to us, and we do that. What we try to do is have a award ceremony to find out who's done something for the community in the last 4 years, not just in their senior year, but we're looking at 4 years. We have an application that you can pick up at the, your guidance counselors have them, and your parents were sent one. On the front page, we have your name, address, parents' name, 3 references, who to call, me, if you have questions, where to send the application, and by what date. We also have your parents all sign this. We do check on the references. Second page is what you've done over the last 4 years, what types of activities, and I'm going to go over the types of activities that we're looking for. Again, we do check on the references, and we're looking for certain types of things. For instance, letters from your teachers don't mean that much to us, because how do they know what you did for the community? You may be the nicest person in the world, you may be the hardest working person in the world, but that may not have anything to do with what you've done for community service. How well you do in sports has nothing to do with community service, or your church, or for your family. You may have to help Uncle Louie and Aunt Mabel, or your mother and dad a lot. That's not really community service. So we give you this application, you fill it out, you send it in to us. The first page has your name and address, references on. We rip that off, we number them. Say you might be number 1. We put a 1 there and a 1 on the second page. We rip that off because we have a panel of about 7 people that look these over, check the references, and look at the work you've done. But we don't want to know your name when we do that. So we go by a blank sheet without your name on it. References and recommendations from your teachers. Again, they don't know what you've done for community service. They might, but usually not. They just say you're a good student, a bad student. and so on. So we have you hand that in. I think it's next week. We get them handed in. Then I get our panel together to review them, and we pick out usually 3 to 6 people who we feel have done a lot of community service. Again, not just in your last year, because of course this last year was COVID. It was hard for people to do a lot of community service, but this should have started in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And so we can look at those years too. If there's not room on the second page, feel free to make another page and attach it to it when you hand it in. So we usually have one that gets quite a large prize, and then 3 or 4 or 5, they get smaller ones in recognition of the work they've done. This money does not have to be used for college. It can be used for a trade school, it can be used for college, it can be used for other. We're not telling you where this money has to be spent. We're looking for people who are carrying on the work of getting along with people and serving people in their community. Now, what are some of the examples of that? Maybe you help put in ramps for people who need ramps on their houses. Maybe you work in a food bank that's open to the general community. The same thing with a clothing bank. Maybe you work for a hospital to help there and you're not getting paid for. We're not looking for jobs that you're getting paid for, we're looking for non-paid. Maybe you babysit for some kids down the road that their parents need someone to look after the kids and you're not really getting paid, but you're helping out. Maybe you're helping out 4 or 5 elderly people who need snow removal, or somebody to buy their groceries or something. Other things would be, there's hundreds of ways you can serve your community, and hopefully the school is expanding what they're trying to do with the students, because when you go to get in college or get a job, you'll find out that this is very important to your employers and to the schools you're trying to get in. They want to look at your scholastic record. They want to look at sports in a way to see if you're a team player. They want to look if you're helping your community and can get along with people and are compassionate for others. You're not just all me, me, me. We feel this is very important. It's one thing that Rotary works very hard at. We have over 1 million members. We have some programs in the school we'd like to start up again, such as Interact and so on, with the roller skating and helping with some of our projects. For instance, there's some projects coming up. They really wouldn't get involved with this award, but the 20th, we're planning about 100 flower barrels to be delivered around Whitney Point. It will take us about 1 hour and 15 minutes at George Schaefer's greenhouse at about 5 o'clock, 4:45 Thursday afternoon. So it would take you not too much time. By 6 o'clock or so we'd be done, and we'd give you a free meal. The next week we deliver them, and we need some muscle to do that, guys and girls, to help deliver. And they're half barrels, so they're hefty. We load them on trucks and we deliver them around Whitney Point, so Whitney Point looks a little better. We make very little money on this, but we do plant them and we pick them up again in the fall, so we have those barrels again for next year. So there's some ideas for community service. If you're looking for something to do, you're getting tired of doing homework at home and you want something to do, wear a mask and we'll be set to go on those. Those are Schaefer's greenhouse at about 4:45 this Thursday and next Thursday. And you'd get a free meal out of it, and I think you'd feel good about it. So we're looking for a couple of volunteers there. So you have 100 kids in your class. Probably will get applications from about 25 kids. There'll be 10 that did a couple hours of community service, and there'll be 15 that are more serious about it. We look those over, we number them, we grade them, but we don't know who it is. We do check some of the references to make sure that you did this work, because sometimes we've gotten things in, oh yeah, he did that work, but he was getting paid $10 an hour while he was doing it. We're not really looking for that. If you have questions, you may call me. My number is on the sheet, Bert McCulloch, and the number is on the sheet. Call me for questions. Make sure it's readable. If we can't read it, we don't know what you did. I'm not saying it has to be perfect, it doesn't have to be typed, but it should be readable. I'm trying to think of other things that we might have to say to you that would help you get excited about filling out these forms. We want to give out some money. We hand out the interest every year. Then that's where we are. But if we don't have candidates that are good quality candidates, we won't hand out the money. We'll let our fund grow. If you have any other questions, please feel free to call me. Is there anything else you might think that I should add?
Did you say, is there a deadline to apply?
Next Thursday, I think it's the deadline, 26, into the P.O. Box 744, Whitney Point Rotary Club. It's right on the application.
Okay.
And on your parents' letter. Again, we're not looking for the community service you did in the last 6 months. We're looking for the 4 years, and we realize this has been a tough year for everybody. So do what you can, fill it out. If you have questions, call me and I'll answer the questions. But if you only have 4 or 5 hours of community service because you helped maybe with the Halloween parade for an hour and something else, that's not really what we're looking for. Some of the other avenues of community service, maybe you help the fire department. You're down there every night or a couple times a week helping out, cleaning equipment and learning about what they do. Or at EMS, you're learning about that. That's another avenue of community service. But call me if you have any questions. I'd be glad to answer the questions. And go Whitney Point. I'm a alumnus, and I had a great time here, and it led me to a good education. And I stayed around, and Whitney Point supported me for a lot of years, and I'm still here. And hopefully this is the feeling that you get from doing community service. It gives you the warm, fuzzy feeling, which is maybe you don't think about it too much now, but as you get older, I'm sure you will. Thanks for your time. And this is Bert McCulloch again. Call for questions.